All right, so I'm sending it to you, Pam. Anybody else want a copy? The agenda? There's not a whole lot on the agenda. So I have,
I'm the only slacker without it.
No, I don't have it either. I'm looking. I just,
yeah, I see I made it up early this month, thinking for some reason that we were going to have our meeting last week, which was clearly wrong. So I can send
just
out.
wing it. You want to put it in the comments or no?
Oh, can I do that? Let's see.
It is fairly short.
Yeah.
It is.
We
It
can
is.
just go
So,
through it.
yeah, how do you put things in comments? I'm not even
I
sure.
don't see comments.
Chat is not enabled for these meetings.
Oh, okay. So, all right, we can wing it if you want. Otherwise, I can send
Yeah.
it out. Basically, yeah, we don't have a whole lot on here. So, let me start, just get my attendance in order here. So the first item is to review minutes from last meeting, September 12th. Does anyone want to move and or second for that?
Sure.
I
I
move
moved to approve the
accept.
meeting minutes.
Sorry, who said that?
Mel, I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, Pam, you want to second that?
Sure.
Does that work? Good, good, good. So we got now. All righty, thank you. So the first item I have is under waste reduction and a review of coastal cleanup day. Mari, you want to give us a
All
quick?
right. We collected like over 850 pounds of garbage that day.
Oh, wow.
And the tires were just a smidge of them, actually.
The tires.
Our particular group got 4 tires, right, Kevin?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So there was one group, a family of 4 that logged like 400 and something pounds. And I reached
What?
out to them to get a little bit more detail on what they collected. I'm guessing they found some few heavy items, but
Wow.
they didn't get back to me yet. But we have year to date over 1,300 pounds of trash collected, which is more than the entire year last year. I think we ended at like 800 pounds last year. So I updated the little graphic on the town webpage with our trash collection under the anytime cleanup. But yeah, all in all, I think we had almost a little over 20 participants from the cleanup. I have to look back at the list of how many people participated in that one particular cleanup day, but it was very successful, if you ask me, at 800 something pounds. So
Wow.
people ended up dispersing to remote locations so that we didn't overpopulate Old Mine Park due to a conflict of another
Right.
event going on there. So it all worked out perfectly nice. The town provided trash bags, we returned extras, and that was that. So
Yeah, it's great. So how much did you say year to date collected?
I can email you exact numbers, but a little over
Okay.
1,300 pounds of
Okay, that's
trash
good enough.
collected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over 1,300 pounds. So this really added to the total then, huh?
It did, definitely. Yeah.
Keep finding those tires. Those are great.
It's kind of a shame that we have that much trash around.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's tons. I mean, if you wanted to just walk up and down Route 25, you just collect an infant. Just
Well, I was in the park and ride yesterday on Park Street and it was a disaster again. I mean,
oh yeah,
And Pam, that was one of the locations we sent people to, and I know you covered Daniels Farm Road there where people dump a lot. It's just they're constant offenders. So
yeah. It never ends.
yeah.
So well, that's very good. Anything else on the coastal cleanup day? Any other?
is
anything
that
to add?
something that we shared with Amanda Kuda for the Trouble Times?
Right.
We did the event before it happened. Do you want me to reach out to her to see if she wants to do a wrap up on it? Or
I think it's an impressive number and I think it illustrates the problem.
yeah.
And she's always looking for stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I think she actually, I was on an email earlier today. She might be looking to do a piece on wish cycling versus recycling, which
Oh, really?
relates to
Well, that's good.
the flyer. I hope
Yeah.
that's on the agenda today, our
Yep. Oh,
recycling.
yeah.
flyer.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
So yeah, I'll reach back out to her. Maybe we can use the follow-up as a push to encourage the anytime cleanups using the Clean Swell app and whatnot. So,
All right. Very good. My next agenda item is on the recycling drive updates. And anything new there, Mari?
yes. Oh my gosh, I have such exciting news. So
Okay.
I happened to see on, I think it was Sustainable Fairfield shared an article from the Easton Courier that there is an organization called Fridgeport that provides meals to people, and they are looking for Black plastic to-go food containers. So we can start collecting those at the recycling drive, which we're going to do,
Oh, wow.
and bring them to either the drop-off location in Easton, or we can connect directly with Fridgeport. But
my
based on the quantity of stuff we get at the recycling drive, I don't think we'll get inundated with too much that would bombard them. So we're going to add that to our list of items that we do collect instead of taking things off the list every month. We're going to add those. So that's really exciting because Black plastic just goes in the garbage. Right?
Yeah,
Those are the old food containers, is that right? The black plastic food containers?
Yep.
Preferably cleaned?
Definitely clean. Yes. But it's funny, we get them every month anyway. I wish Renata
Oh,
was
that's
on
true.
here because we're always like, why do people bring these every month? They're not on our list, but
So
now they can be.
what does Fridgeport do? What I've never heard of them.
They're just a meal. I see you nodding, Pam. Maybe you're even more familiar with them. They look like this cute little like shed that packs meals for people in need. So
I don't remember if I shared it on Facebook, but I saw the post on Sustainable Fairfield. And I thought, oh, wow, that's great.
yeah. I don't know if you did. I saw it myself, but I mean,
I
if you did, great.
have no memory.
So
Yeah,
I just made a quick graphic with the black plastic containers and put X in the garbage can or curbside recycling, but a check for recycling drive on our page. So I'll keep promoting that as well.
that's great. The guy that started it and runs it is Reggie St. Fort Collin, who now works with me at Aspatuck. He's a conservation outreach manager, and he started Fridgeport. And it's very interesting because I had never heard of it either. So that's pretty cool. Maybe he can come and talk to us someday. Get on our meeting and talk about Fridgeport. It is exactly that. It's like a little shack with refrigerators in it, and it's for community food access, and it's in the communities where people a lot of times don't have cars or access to food stores, and so the food is donated to the location from restaurants and stuff, and kept there clean in the refrigerators, kept cold, and people just go in and take what they need. So so it's kind of cool. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so
We could have
excited.
Reggie
Yeah.
come talk to us about it.
I didn't realize that was Reggie. That was the guy that spoke at your annual meeting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
So he started Fridgeport.
But Mel, I might ask you just to pass his number because I was going to reach out to them just to, get a gauge of, how they're doing with the collection. Like I said, I don't anticipate us getting a mad rush of people dropping off containers at the recycling drive. But I just wanted to, just double check that was cool for us to add it. I mean, I added it already on social media and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you his email.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely. Okay, cool.
Oh, I found them on Facebook. I Googled them or, searched on the internet, and that's basically all I found was they must be pretty new. Or at least they're under the radar if they're not showing up anywhere else. Fridgeport.
Yeah, they might just be a social media.
That's a cool little thing. It looks like they've got a little teeny tiny building there with, you can go in and get food from the refrigerator or stuff that's non-refrigerable too.
That's so neat.
Yeah, it's nice. All right, thank you for that.
So a recycling drive, I'm trying to think what
Yeah.
else. The only other thing coming to mind is that this month it was pushed back to this coming Saturday, the 15th.
Right,
So that's happening this Saturday. And I think that's it, really.
okay. To the monthly. Cool. The next item I have is the handout is the flyer or handout on recycling, wish cycling flyer handouts. What's the status on that?
It was shared with George. He
Uh-huh.
was really impressed with it, I think.
Good.
Thanks to Pam's editing skills.
Uh-huh.
I'll take credit with Mary for some content there, but yeah, so I think it came out really great. It's a two-sided flyer for those of you that were in the little subgroup of editing it. The what's in, what's out is the generic provided by DEP, which includes some of the revisions more recently. And then I just had them customize it with our logo. That was as much as they were willing to let us do. And then the backside is all of the wish cycling. So more of the specific updated recycling tips. So I was just hoping to connect with Mary on the meeting today because I was a little unclear from George's correspondence as to how it was going to get distributed and if we could help with that process. I certainly think we could share it somehow on our social media, but I'm not sure how to best do that because Pam, there's all those live links on it. I was hoping maybe the town could blast it so it could be a live document, right?
Yeah, I think he was going to do that. I just don't know what the steps that have to happen.
Right,
Or
right.
get
So
that
maybe
done.
Mary can, or I can check back in for just a little bit more clarity. I know it was intending to be printed, I think, and available at the assessor's office for tax, when people pay taxes. I'm trying to think what else, other ideas that we can offer him too. I'm sure he has his own ideas, but
Didn't you say something about the haulers, the tax
yeah.
assessor's office, and then a mailer or an email blast?
Yeah, okay. So maybe Mary can peek back in. She's kind of been the main correspondence with George. Okay, I'll email Mary just to let her know that we would like her to do that.
Okay.
And then we can step in with what we want to do. How's that?
Perfect. All right, and the restaurant's sustainable flyer. Is there, what's the status on that one?
It's been pretty stagnant. I think
Okay.
the consensus was that it wouldn't get a look until after restaurant.
After restaurant week,
anyways.
okay.
Pam, whenever you're up for another round of editing, it's even worse, the draft form I have to start, but
I never read a document I didn't want to edit.
yeah. There's so much
Spoken like a true
information.
editor.
I felt like we were going to try to target it to the restaurant owners in terms of how to reduce giving out single-use plastic, and then also a second subtopic of how to implement more reusable stuff, and just kind of keep key points and a few key resources.
Yeah.
That's really the goal, I think. And
Send
then,
it to me. I'll take a look at
all right,
it. I'll make all your hyphens and dashes.
it needs a lot more than that. So, okay, that was that. I know Mary wants us to do stuff to the community on how to bring more of your own reusable stuff, how to say no to single-use plastics, but that's another target audience. We can work on that as well.
All right. Very good. So moving on to 1,000 trees for Trumbull. How's that whole process going?
Okay, so right now we have about $28,000, $28,400 for the program. 12,000 is in the town. From the town, it's in the conservation budget. We have to use that by the end of June 2023. And then the rest is donations that is being held in a Pollinator Pathway Northeast account from, so it's the Aquarian donation, the Aquarian Award, and Janet's New York Community Foundation donation. And then Ken Hallaby also made a donation to go into that account. So that's good. We do have money. We have to, really earmark that $12,000 to get that used. Let's see, I'm scheduling a Zoom meeting with the town of Fairfield, with their forestry committee and their tree warden, along with Tim Coughlin, who's on our conservation commission. He's an arborist, and I'm going to have him head up the 1,000 Trees program in Trumbull. So we basically have to get together on a call, talk about how the process works in Fairfield, how we think it might work in Trumbull. We'll have Dimitri on the call, George, the whole shooting match. So looking for some time in October to get that meeting started. Fairfield sent us their bid request. So they send out bids annually, twice a year, and they put in 400 trees a year in Fairfield. So they shared with us the bid letter that they use and then what pricing they typically get. And they said that they would be happy to do a shared bid with Trumbull. So if we're going to do, however many, we're going to start with 100 trees a year, or we start with 50, we can share in on the bid and get better pricing for our trees. So that was really nice of them to share that information. So that's kind of where we stand so far. Yeah, and something else, Trumbull is in the process of going to be on a search for a new tree warden. So the timing of this is kind of good. We'll have hopefully a new tree warden that can help us to.
Excuse me, Mary Ellen, where did you hear that? A new replacement tree warden or an additional tree warden?
No, I heard replacement. I heard that.
I don't believe that's accurate. Who did you hear that from?
I kind of pieced it together from 3 different people who said that Warren was out sick and the town was going to be going out to look for a new tree warden. No? No?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
Maybe not.
All right. Well, that's incorrect information that I have received. So I apologize for that. Yeah. Okay.
I'll ask, but I hadn't heard any of that.
Okay. Well, I guess if you don't know about it, then it's not true. But I've heard it from. Because I know that a lot of the plans for the land use boards have been overseen, as you had mentioned, by Rob. So because we were trying to see if we can get the Conservation Commission to help to look at that. But that's what I had heard from you, but from some other sources outside the town who had shared with me that they were in the process of looking for a new tree warden. So I guess that's incorrect information. So I apologize for that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that's not right. So is Warren still working? Is he out on leave or?
I thought he was still working.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Because I just didn't know how to go forward with this 1,000 Trees program when I had heard that he was not working. So I apologize. That was incorrect information. So anyway, we're going to have the Fairfield tree warden, Jeff Minder, hopefully can get on a Zoom with us and share his experience with the Fairfield Tree Replacement Program. And I think Trumbull's concern was that the Fairfield trees typically go on the town right of way. And I think Trumbull did not necessarily want them to go on the town right of way, but over the line into the adjacent private property owner. So in that way, it would be different. The person who requests the trees, the private property owner, has to sign a contract for a year that they will take care of this tree, like water it, mulch it. But going forward, the town of Fairfield manages the health of the tree, trimming it if necessary, or whatever. So that's kind of a difference that I think, when we get the two teams together to discuss, we'll have to work out the details of that. Because I think, it's a big resource that is required to manage more trees. And this is why, for the most part, we've never replanted trees in our town right of way. We've removed them, but not replanted. So this is kind of a plan and policy that's going to have to be worked out before we even start buying tree number one. And let's see. So that was it for the 1,000 trees of Trumbull. I just have something else on the survey, the conservation survey, which is a
Oh
different.
yeah, that's the next item on our agenda.
Oh, okay, perfect.
It turns out. So if you're done with that, let's move on to the
Okay, great.
survey.
So
Yeah.
Sarah.
Well, hold on a second. Janet has her hand raised.
Oh, sorry, I can't see. I'm doing too many things at once. Janet, go right ahead.
I was just going to say that if you need any help with any research, legwork, or anything like that, Mel, you can call on me, okay?
Okay, great.
Okay.
That would be great. Our next Conservation Commission meeting is October 26th. And I'm thinking we might do a live meeting. Haven't decided yet, but that might be a good time to, hopefully we'll have the tree Zoom by then, and then we can talk out some more details and, begin to advance this project a little bit more. But thank you, Janet, and thanks for your help with the donation for that program as well. So thank you. Okay, so the conservation survey or the sustainability survey that we did, we presented, it was presented to the first selectman by Sarah Sterling and Matt Solzicki, who are both on the Conservation Commission. They presented the data live to Vicki a couple of months ago, and we wanted to make sure that she saw the results of it before we had it released kind of to the public in the newspaper. So that's what happened. Vicki saw the outcomes. It went into the Trumbull Times, and now the actual survey sits on our website, the Conservation Commission website. I think it might sit on our Sustainable Trumbull site as well. But presentations of the of the survey are ongoing. So tonight, for example, Sarah is going to present to the Trumbull Economic Development Commission. And that's thanks to Ralph, who made that happen. So they were very interested in hearing the results of the survey. And Sarah's also presenting the survey results live to Public Works, which includes George and Dimitri and Tatiana, this Thursday in the Public Works office at 1 o'clock. So, those are two groups that, were mentioned a lot in terms of in the survey, what folks were hoping to advance in terms of conservation and trees and stuff. So that's good. At least we're getting it out to more groups to make people aware of the survey. And then finally, we'd like to really get a Zoom for the land use boards. So planning and zoning and inland wetland. But we'll probably do that in another month or something. And Sarah's really been very good at presenting the data because she created the survey. And this is what she's a data manager for a living. So she has a really good way of presenting the results of the survey. And as we all know, the survey informed the beginning of the 1,000 Trees for Trumbull initiative. So that's it for the survey.
Nice. All right. So go ahead.
I just have a quick comment. I just looked on the webpage. The survey itself is still on our homepage. It's not the results. Maybe we want to email
Oh.
them to someone.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the report that I think she put together for the results. I think that link is on. Okay. I'll have Sarah send it out. Thank you, Mary.
That's all I have on my agenda. Is there anything else anyone else has? I'm sorry, I didn't say hello to Marie there. If Marie or Janet or anybody else. Did you wave your hand, Mari? Did you just have your hand up?
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought of two quick things, and one involves Marie that I just wanted to add to the group. I'll start with the other one first, is that I sat in on the working group CCSMM meeting last week, which was geared at recycling enforcement. So I just wanted to kind of give the group a really quick overview. I emailed George about it in response to the flyer, but it was kind of cool. It was 3 municipalities that were not only working on educating people on recycling, but enforcing it. So they actually go as far as offering rewards for people who properly curbside recycle and penalties for people that do not. So it's kind of like the state is, I guess, essentially looking at, I don't want to say these people are pilots, but they're municipalities that are working on enforcing it. And I guess the consensus was if we have private haulers, it would have to be something that is discussed with them before, we contract with them. But it's just kind of interesting to food for thought of how we get people to actually comply. I think the fact that we put together a great flyer and can educate people, it's, the first step, but it was pretty cool to hear about what people were doing in other places in Connecticut. So
how is that working? They're doing like carrot and stick approach?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they actually would suspend your service in one of the towns. I'd have to go back. I didn't intend to give a full report on the meeting, but they would suspend service. And I think it was East Hartford actually. And it looks like in the pictures they showed the houses are pretty close together, pretty urban. And people were like, that's not mine, that's my neighbor's. And, they kind of had some fun feedback, but they definitely hold people accountable to putting correct stuff in there, or you don't get your curbside picked up done, so it might be what we start to see. And so it's kind of like maybe as part of the education, it's like, well, if you don't want that to, start happening, let's all just do our part, right? I mean, it's not.
I don't know how you check. How would you know what house is complying around here?
There's one town, it was a little bit more remote. Can't think of the name that was participating up north somewhere. And they actually have an employee that is employed part-time to check people's recycling.
Interesting.
Never going to happen here, but
Well, it's tough with a private haulers. It makes it tough.
Yeah.
It's another layer.
And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is Marie emailed some of us so nicely about, we had talked about at the recycling drive last month, ideas of how to encourage people to not throw out their pumpkins. And
right.
I think we can, share that on social media. I thought it was great information, but, if we want to start as a group brainstorming on, how to maybe pick up some momentum on educating people on home composting again. I know, Pam, we've talked about that, just if we can't get it at the transfer station immediately, maybe we can just target homeowners and how they can dispose of things. And
yeah, and actually, Mary, I'll give you an update. I contacted 4 different farms because I'm always happy to pick up pulp and seeds because I cook and I feed wildlife in my backyard.
Oh, wow.
And so I was looking for, sources to bring these pumpkin pieces. I've heard from two, and unfortunately they can't take them, but I'm still searching for that. And honestly, we compost here, so I had told Mary that I invited all of my neighbors to give me their pulp, give me their seeds, and then I'll pick up their pumpkin shell. And so we'll definitely do that. But then, as I say, I love to cook. And so I've been putting together, I don't think I told you this, Mary. I haven't shared it on all of my Trumbull networks yet, but I want to include ways that people can use pumpkin pulp. I mean, it's great for soups, it's great for smoothies, it's great for muffins, all sorts of ways to just encourage people not to think it's yucky, and if they do think it's yucky, to call me and I'll come and bring it, or I'll take it. Yeah, so that's my pumpkin mission. And just as an aside, October and Halloween is very special to my family because my husband and I got married on Halloween, and
Is
we
your
are
30th anniversary, you said?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a very fun wedding, and yeah, we love October. And I don't know if there are other things, but I have one other thought on my list that I'd love to talk with you all about. Is
Sure.
this an appropriate time?
Sure. I guess we're done with our agenda, so.
Okay. I'm very involved with bees. I love bees, love them. And so I don't think I've sent any of you pictures of what we've been doing in our backyard. And I think I met Mary when I learned about, No Mow May in Trumbull. But one of the things that I just had a question about is that when we drive around town, and I'm a dog walker, so, but when there are like fences and then ground on the other side, does that area belong to the town, or does it belong to the homeowner? And the reason I ask that is I'm very, as I say, I'm very bee-centric, and I'd love to see a lot of these areas, have wildflowers that will attract bees. So I just wanted to open that up and learn from all of you about that.
So what area is that again?
All over town. Yeah, you can drive all around town. I'd be happy to take pictures. The one I see most often is I live off of Edison Road. And when you come up from Church Hill, there's a stone wall before you turn into Lillian. And, there's an area there. But honestly, it's all over the town. And I'd be happy to take tons of pictures. But, the main question is, are those areas owned by the town or owned by the homeowners? And even if they're owned by the homeowners, I'd sort of like to be the wildflower lady, like Lady Bird Johnson, who inspired me. So anyway, we don't have to talk about it now, but I just, wanted to share that thought.
Are you talking about, like, if I had my front yard and I wanted to put in a stone wall, I'd have to set back the stone wall because there's a right of way that belongs to the town? Are you talking about that strip?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Pam?
Yeah, it's a little hard for me to talk, sorry. If I had a yard and I wanted to put a stone wall on the yard, there's a setback from the street that I'd have to adhere to. Is that what you're talking about? Is that
No, no. Actually, I'm talking about areas in town where it's, the homeowners' yards are, whether they're, within the fence, within the stone wall, but these are sort of stagnant, ignored areas. And yeah, and you know what? Maybe what I should do is I'll take some pictures over the things that have been on my heart, and then we can talk about it next time. But the main thing was I don't know who owns those, and being a new wildflower lady because I love bees so much, just wanted to introduce that thought to the group. So I'll take pictures, I'll send them to the group, and then we can talk about it. But thank you for listening to me. I appreciate that.
Ready?
Keep us
Sounds
posted
good.
of the pumpkin progress.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will. I will. Yep, I make a great pumpkin apple curry soup. I make great pumpkin muffins, pumpkin bread, and hopefully I'll inspire a lot of people not to just dump out all of the pulp and so yeah.
if people can't be bothered to share, a pumpkin broken open and left in the woods also absorbs food for wildlife, which is what I do.
No,
with my-
and that's why, at least in my neighborhood, I'm offering to pick up all of that. And can't do that for the whole town this year, but I don't know, maybe next year. You never know. But I hate to see, possible food sources, especially as, what we were talking about earlier with the food banks and things of that sort. Those are great ingredients, not only for wildlife, but most importantly for humans. So,
all right, well, it's definitely good topic for discussion. Food waste in general is really something that we can do more on too, so. Does anybody else have any
No,
questions, comments for the?
no.
I do, and it's kind of related in a little bit to what we were just talking about in terms of the pollinators. So our friends up at Tashua Knolls, Christine Plomio, who's the, I guess, manager up there at the golf course, has always been an advocate for pollinators. And they've done a lot of great planting with natives up there to attract pollinators. So this year she had an Adopt a Monarch program. So people could, for a donation, adopt one of the monarch caterpillars that they had collected, and they were in tanks at the golf course in the main hallway.
I
And
love that.
I'm sorry.
I love that. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So she raised about over $700 from donations through this Adopt a Monarch program. And so people got to name the butterfly as it went into the chrysalis. And then they released it on the golf course, which I think is just such a great idea. And so she had the golf course put together that amount of money from the donations, and it's going into the pollinator pathway, the 501c3 pollinator pathway, and being held for use for Trumbull, which is really cool. So I think, going forward with, if we plant out some of these areas that Marie mentioned, or we can have some funding to help to support the purchase of more pollinator plants. And one of those areas is right now the Long Hill Market, by Echo, that restaurant there. There's a rain garden that was designed into the construction process. It's quite a large rain garden. And the purpose of it was to capture the runoff from the parking lot before the water went into the brook that's there. And it had been planted. It's mostly grasses in there. And so I spoke to Rena about replanting that. And because they just put a new sign there to explain the rain garden, what the purpose of it is. And there's an illustration there showing it filled with flowers, but it's not filled with flowers. Yes, I think they may have seeded and it didn't, work. So that would be a really great rain garden. If we get permission from the owner there, Michael Serrata, that maybe we can replant that rain garden. It's got signage. And we were offered a donation of pollinator plants from David Benjamin at White Birch. He had some really big pots of Asclepias, the butterfly weed, and some other things that would go really nicely in that rain garden. So it's just kind of nice. There's been increased awareness, not only by our developers, but by our golf course as well, about the importance of native plants and pollinators. So
No, oh, Mary Ellen, that just makes me so happy. And I'm actually putting in my second order for wildflower seeds. And fall is the great time to plant wildflower seeds. If that's something that we could do in that area, I'd be happy to fund it. And I'd even rent a tiller to make sure we can make sure. But, the wildflower seeds can be spring, summer, fall, and they are pollinators or pollinator attractive year round. So I would love, love, love to talk with you further about that.
that's great. I just have to get permission from Mike Serrata when I hear back from him. Maybe we can give him a plant list or something about what we'd like to put in there, as long as it's easy to maintain. And really with rain gardens, they get better over time as they mature. And right now it's just a cup some grasses in there, and it's not quite functioning the way it will be in a couple of years if we plant it correctly. So
Well, I'll follow up with you directly.
okay,
We
great.
can chat. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
I saw before that Jana had her hand up. Janet, are you still there?
I think what I'll do is I'll touch base with Marie through email or something, because I have access to 430 households with e-blasts, and we may be able to rescue some pumpkin stuff.
All right, that sounds good.
Yay!
All right. And I see Ralph jumped on and Mary Isaac have jumped on here. So we're just finishing up. But Ralph, I guess the meeting tonight is a go. Sarah Sterling's going to present to you guys at ECDC.
Yes, it's on at 7. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's on at 7 o'clock tonight. We put it first on the agenda so our guests can get on and answer questions and get off if they so choose, or they can stay because all is welcome, all are welcome. But yes, it's tonight.
Super. Looking forward to that. And then Mary, we had bandied your name about looking for some. So if you're there, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah,
but
can you? I don't know if I'm. Oh, do you hear me? I can't.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I
doing
can
it
hear
from
you
my
now. Yep.
phone. Okay. Yeah. One question I did, and I'm so sorry that I got on so late. But one question I want to ask Mel about the pollinator pathway for the 501c3. We can collect with HelpSee, and I emailed Mel. You may not have seen it. What is the smallest amount that you can take as a donation for them to accept it? Because I could ask them for whatever they get in funding to, if it's successful, to kind of keep it and give it in a certain amount of check increments, if that works for you. This was for the HelpSee store.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think that I'll have to find out
Okay.
the details on that. Because they typically, this is all kind of new because it's a new 501c3. And I think, they're doing this for Trumbull, just because we had a nice egg for them to hold on to. So, you know, if they, and they're opening an account, like a special account with Fairfield County Bank, like that's a Trumbull, you know, tree and pollinator. So I'll find out what the minimum donation is for you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I don't want to have like checks of here's 25, here's 50, here's, you know, things like that. So.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Mary.
And then what else we were hoping Mary would be able to help us with on the, something about the recycling.
Yeah, Mary, I was going to email you. I was just a little unclear after our last correspondence with George about the new flyer. Is there a way we're going to send it out digitally so people can have the live links? And are there any other avenues that we need to jump in to help get it distributed? I just wasn't clear what we need to do next. I know.
Yeah,
that
I'll check. I meant to check with him today, actually, and we were in Newport Friday till late last night, so I kind of got off on my stuff. But yeah, I did want to. I'm hoping that Amanda, we can work with her a little bit for the Trumbull Times on that regard. If the
Yeah.
haulers will work with us, and then coming out from the town, and then on the social media sites as well. So we'll see if he's ready to go on that. And coming obviously as a blast from the town is, you know, hits the largest audience right off the bat. So hopefully if he's all good with that, we can get going on that.
I wonder, as you're saying that, because I did see your email looping me in with Amanda at the Times. Thank you. I wonder if we should have like a landing page on the website with the 2-page flyer, even though we have it, the first page, what's in, what's out. Maybe we could add the Wish Cycling one that we could then direct her to from the newspaper.
Yeah, I think it's great. And anything, and as it said, for me, like when the RWS put that out, the fact that you couldn't easily download and print it, that was my thing. It's, you know, I think it's great if people have it accessible. A lot of people do everything on their phones, but to have a printout and where you're going to be tossing your stuff is easiest. So if we can have it, you know, linkable like that, I believe Pam did it on the page itself. So, but just, you know, wherever we're going to put it so that it can easily be downloaded.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you guys want to keep it as the what's in, what's out as the second page on the website, or do a separate for the backside that Wish Cycling? That would be maybe my inclination, but.
I think whatever spoon feeds people easier. That's my
Yeah.
thing. You know,
Okay,
it's
well-
because it, you know. And then
Yeah.
I did see, and this is not for us per se, but for the recycling drive. I did see that Bridgeport is collecting, you know, like the hard plastic to go containers, things like that. So we're, you know, which come from, you know, delis, things like that, and to go food, but they're collecting those and they're giving them out for people that they're serving, homeless population or in need. So
Yeah.
I think that's, if we can start, I didn't get the information on it, said it was a whale weekend, but that I think is great because there are so many people that have those that you just feel so guilty, like just throwing them in the trash. So obviously you want people to bring their own, you know, if they can preferably, but if they don't and they have it, this would be a great spot to highlight if we could possibly do that.
Yeah, we
All right.
actually already covered that earlier in the meeting. I already added it to the list of accepted items on the.
Oh, great.
Well, I just did it on social media. I made a post indicating that we'll start collecting them, and I'll go back and update the master flyer. But yeah, I noticed that, and actually Mel and Pam know the founder of Fridgeport, which is the organization collecting them. So yeah, that's
Super.
a great.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So done. That was easy, huh?
Okay.
Hey, while we're on the subject of George, Mary Ann, did you hear back from him on the community garden at all?
You're muted there, Mel. You're muted, Mel.
Sorry,
you
no, I did not. I did
So I
not.
was at the Trumbull Historical Society last week with the dog, and I walked her up where the community garden is. It's all overgrown. It's not even being kept up by the people who are gardening there. It's a shame.
It is a shame, and I think that what you saw there is probably what's feeding the concern to not go forward on something like that. Because if the folks who are taking those few gardens can't keep their own gardens in good condition, then making it bigger wouldn't help, but I think.
I mean, if they have a financial stake, like
Yeah.
Westport, then maybe that's the answer to that.
Right.
Yep.
Yes, the folks in the Westport Garden have a financial stake in it. Yes, exactly. So, and it's run by all the volunteers. So they influence each other and say, hey, if you don't clean up, you're out. So, yeah, so that's too bad that our community gardens look like that. But no, I haven't heard anything back on that topic.
Does anyone else have anything they want to add to the discussion? No? All right. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate your joining us. And I'll be sending out some draft minutes for review pretty soon.
Great. Thank you,
All right.
Kevin.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Tim. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.